Look here, I have my own journal. This setup I have been using for the past 5 years, and it was for a season that I was looking for validation, and it just helped me bring the attention back to myself. And it's just the three things that are important to me, not the to do list, but what really matters. Something that I'm grateful for, something that I'm proud of, something that I dream of, and something that I pray for. Something simple but effective, as well as notebooks. I love anything that has to do with, oh, this one is another version of the journal, but I have notebooks as well because I love anything relating to journaling. So if you love journaling, you can check them out at lifewithfrancie.com/shop, and I have it in Spanish as well. um Hello, welcome to Life with Francie podcast, a place where you will find all kinds of conversation like mental health, self love, self care, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a community where we support one another in business and personal life. Hope you enjoy this episode. Now, let's get the show started. This conversation was thanks to Podmatch, an amazing community for podcast hosts and podcast guests to have amazing collaborations like this one, and they have tools and resources to help anybody in the podcasting world. So now let's welcome Sherrie. I have Sherrie today, who is an attorney and asset protection coach who teaches entrepreneurs how to merge their business plan with their estate plan to create a moat around their assets. For over a decade, she has taught, led, and counseled entrepreneurs at every phase of their business. I am so excited to have her on my podcast. Tell us, Cherie, what is life with you?
Oh my gosh, like in a word, chaotic some days. But I'm so glad to be here. Because all the things you said, even though I'm an asset protection coach, I'm still a full-time mom and I'm a full-time practicing attorney.
Oh my goodness. How do you manage all of that? And you have your podcast.
And I have a podcast. Well, you have your journal. I have a very good calendar that I use, and it just kind of keeps me organized. So that's the main way that I do it, but also with a lot of prayer and good relationships and friendships.
I love that. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about your story.
So from the time, I guess as early as 3 years old as I can remember, I grew up with my mom being sick. And when I was 16, she passed away, and she passed away in a nursing home at the age of 36. So, yeah, so fast forward, my brother and I are living with relatives. We eventually, landed at my grandparents' house after we lived with a couple of different relatives. And it's different. It's just a trying time because at 36, you don't think that you need long-term care insurance. You don't think that you need life insurance. And you often don't think that you need to have a guardian for your minor children. So a lot of
Mhm.
my early years really shaped who I am and what I do now as an asset protection coach. We faced some struggles when my grandparents passed away because they didn't have a will or a trust. And so there was this huge argument in our family about who should get what. And, that along with the failed business venture led me down this path, and boom, here I am today.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, that is a conversation that you do not hear a lot of people having it unless you go through it. And now to talk to about, because we have it in Puerto Rico. I'm from Puerto Rico, and we have seen other families do it. Where even in my house, my mom owns the house, but not the land around it. So everything, so I get it that we have to be taken care of, and especially when we have kids. So I love your mission. Tell us more about it.
Well, and you know what? It was not a straight line. Um, I didn't go to law school until I was 30 years old. I'd had a career in real estate, yeah, in the mortgage industry. I went to law school. My son was 6 months old and my daughter was 3. And it was hard. I'd been out of school for a while. I'd gone to grad school, and I had to do a U-turn because back in 07, 08, when, the market crashed, I lost everything. So I had to start over. I went from being a business owner to, making 5.25 an hour working at my daughter's daycare part-time while I was in law school. And I really appreciate the experience because it caused me to reset. There are so many lessons that I learned during that time. I was getting the formal education in law school, but I had the school of hard knocks to really show me as a practical application what can happen when you don't plan properly. So that is, it was a zigzag, but fast forward, I became an attorney. I've been practicing about 13 years. And I've been coaching people all around the world for about 3 years now.
Wow. I mean, I love that because I'm 36, and my birthday just happened in November. And well, it's gonna sound weird in the interview anyways, but how do you just say, okay, I'm going to law school now? Because I know is a hard decision, because as an adult, like, we're done. We're supposed to just, by your 30s, you're supposed to have it figured out, and if you haven't, you're stuck with whatever you're doing. How do you, like, go back to school?
In a word, scarcity. When I tell you I lost everything, I had rental properties, all kind of stuff, businesses. I lost it all because I didn't properly plan, and my business went under, right before I went to law school. So I had to go back and literally live with my brother for a period of time. And so almost a year had gone by and I had not made a dime. So, you're looking at these children and you're like, how am I going to feed them?
Hmm.
What am I going to do? And so I just made it up in my mind that I was going to find a better way, to live my life and create a legacy for my family. And so now, because of all that, I'm helping other entrepreneurs do the same thing.
I absolutely love that. And how did the coaching business come about?
Well, the pandemic, thank you, pandemic. I know that sounds crazy because a lot of people lost a lot. And I'm so blessed that no one that was close to me passed away during the pandemic.
Mhm.
Um, And so, I was really still for the first time in years because usually with my practice, I'm in court 3 to 4 days a week. And when I'm not in court, I'm taking the kids to dance lessons, taekwondo, football practice, soccer, tumbling. So, because I'm also a single mom.
Mhm.
And so I'm all over the place. So now the pandemic has hit and no one can go anywhere. And I'm literally just at home. I'm making 3 meals a day, which we never do. Um, and I'm just being very open. And there's a lot of things going on social media. You see people doing all sort of skits and offering training courses, and so that's how it started.
Mhm. Oh my goodness. I'm loving it because a lot of people, some people, make so many excuses, and you are like out here overcoming and then going to the next thing and to the next thing. I love that mindset because that's like the mindset that I have. Like, when the obstacle comes, it's like, oh, okay, now we need a redirection. So yeah, tell us more about your coaching.
So basically, what I do, I work with entrepreneurs. I do have some individuals that don't have businesses but may desire to have a business, and a lot of it is mindset work and knowing what to do, how to buy assets, and how to protect those assets. So part of building a moat around your personal assets and your business assets, we start with the decision tree. And the decision tree starts like this. Is your business e-commerce or is it brick and mortar? Because depending on the type of business, that's gonna, leverage the type of advice I can give you. Also, do you have the type of business that's public facing where you want people to know that you're associated with the business? Or do you require anonymity? Some people may not want the world to know that they own half of Montana.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are different ways we can do that. There are certain states that you can file in, like Wyoming, Delaware, and Nevada, that will give you a certain level of anonymity. We also ask other questions in terms of the type of industry that you're in, because depending on the type of industry, you may be regulated. Does your business require certain professional licenses or permits outside of your normal business permit? So we just kind of go through the decision tree on the business side. And then on the personal side, and this is what is really important, because a lot of people think that this process is expensive. So anyone who's in business, you probably already have something that you're paying insurance for, right? Insurance premiums
Yeah.
on, right? Okay. So you have an insurance agent. Most of us have a banking or, some sort of checking or savings account. So we have a relationship with a bank. We're all supposed to be paying taxes. So we should have a relationship with someone who is preparing our taxes.
Mhm.
Part of what I do, this is just like a mindset shift, and people don't think to do this. You have to put those people together as a team. Stop letting them work in silos. You give them a directive that's about the overall health of your business. And so I'm like the quarterback for your asset protection team. I get all your financial professionals, your attorneys, your insurance agents, your financial advisors, your financial planners. I help you understand what they're supposed to be doing. You authorize them to talk to each other. And I help you communicate the goals for your business in a way that will grow your business. And really, it frees you up. Now, you're already paying these people in some form or fashion. And
Mhm.
often what happens is you recognize savings because now everybody's on the same page.
I love it. I'm here. You can talk forever. I know that we're taking care of your voice today, but I'm just like, okay, yes, please tell me more because um this business I'm playing with the big girls now as I have my podcast and I'm trying to do my journals and all of that stuff, but I'm into this world and I don't know anything about, so I love the advice that you have because not a lot of people, and I have seen it on social media where they get that famous status. So now they have all this money coming in. They're spending it everywhere. They're not investing. They're not taking care of their companies and businesses. So yeah, your mission is very very much needed because there's not a lot of people like giving that knowledge, of like, oh, hey, you have to cover you. You have to have a plan B, plan C, plan D, plan, and have everything work together. Do you work on your clients on a one-on-one, or how is your coaching?
So, and I guess I need to make the distinction as well, because I am a licensed attorney where I live in the state of Mississippi. But in terms of coaching, that doesn't require a license because I'm not giving legal advice.
Yeah.
So, and I try not to do one on one. I have some group coaching programs and I have a lot
Hmm.
of free resources as well. If someone needs one on one, I
No,
would
that's fine. I didn't know. I didn't know what kind of coaching is your process of coaching.
but generally people come in cohorts and we go through either a 6 or 8 week program with the cohorts. I will do some VIP days, but those are kind of limited because a lot of the skills that you need, I think people benefit from group coaching
Hmm.
because sometimes you don't know what to ask. So if you're in the room with someone else and like, oh, I didn't think about that, or hey, this person has the type of business that I was thinking about. It's not the business that I'm in right now, but it helps to hear that. So, like, I'll do a mastermind, an occasional VIP day or group coaching, but I really don't do a lot of one on one because there's so much to do. And at the point that you need me one on one, you really have bigger problems if
Yeah,
you need me one
yeah.
on one.
No, yeah, and I can see that as well. And then from that, how do you go to the podcast? Did you do the podcast before or after?
So, funny story. Okay, pandemic
Hmm.
again. The very first coach that I invested in their program, had me doing all the things. Oh, you need to get a podcast, you need to get a newsletter, but there was no rhyme or reason behind it. It's just like, oh, you just need a podcast. And so I started the podcast last year, but I did not fall in love with the podcast until about 6 months ago. And
It
so now,
happens.
yes, like I was just doing it, but now, it's kind of like my baby. So
I love it. What is the name of it?
it is the Play Big Faster podcast. And really, I'm not going to say it doesn't have anything to do with asset protection, but what we try to do is provide a safe place for entrepreneurs to come and get resources. So the goal of the podcast is every time you go to the podcast, I want you to walk away with a nugget you can use in your business right now. So I bring different people on that have resources for entrepreneurs. It's not just financial talk, it's not just insurance, it's just anything that an entrepreneur will need to improve their life and their business.
I love it. And we did a podcast collaboration. So probably by the time that this is live, my episode might be live or not, but you might check out her podcast to see if my interview is live. Is there anything else that you would like my listeners to know about you?
Well, just that I am not a unicorn. The things that I do, anyone can do.
Hmm.
It just takes a made up mind. And I made the decision early on that I did not want my children's fate to be my fate. And I think a lot of it just has to do with starting these conversations at home. My mother was a young mother and she had been sick for a long time, even before I could have understood a conversation about asset protection. So, I just encourage people start the conversation early and at home. Doesn't have to be complex, but definitely make a plan for your family.
I love that. Where can my listeners find you?
So, the best place if you would like, just if you have questions, LinkedIn, and I'm at Sherrie Speaks,
Mm.
but I also have a free Facebook group, and people are in the group raising their hands, asking questions, and answering other people's questions. And we have a good time in there. So, it is the Small Business Owners, Entrepreneurs, and Solopreneurs group. Please check it out. Like I said, it's a free group, and we'd love to have you there.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode. Hope you enjoy Life with Francie podcast. You know, you can find it in all major platforms as well as my YouTube channel. Check out the description of the episode for her links as well as mine. Hope you have a blessed day. Bye bye.